What do Michigan and Virginia have in common besides a love for Ben Wallace and way too high of expectations for Grant Hill? Find out on this week's episode of PlayUSA to Z. I would have mentioned Plaxico Burress, but I wouldn't want to shoot myself in the foot before this video even gets started. Alright, I am Jessica Welman, back again for another installment of gambling news from across the nation, but today I'm actually going to focus on two states that garnered all of the big headlines, Michigan and Virginia. Before we dive in though, some housekeeping. While PlayUSA to Z is dropping at the same bat time, the bat channel has changed. We are now on the PlayUSA News channel, so be sure to like, subscribe, and ring the bell again for updates on the new channel so you get notified when a new video from me drops or Nicole has a new Q&A video for you to check out. Would have been nice to get a push notification when Virginia launched online sports betting last week. While Michigan's big launch has been building up anticipation for months, Virginia was a stealthy operation conducted literally under the cover of night. On this episode, we'll take a look at the launch, namely how Michigan's sports betting launch went, how Virginia's sports betting launch went much, much differently, the record-setting gambling weekend that emerged from those launches, and a little bit of a focus and close-up on the new Michigan online casino industry. We've been waiting for Michigan to get going for over a year. Governor Gretchen Whitmer signed the gambling expansion legislation into law in December 2019. It feels like even longer to some of us, given that the bill was almost across the finish line in 2018, only for Whitmer to veto it. Like Pennsylvania before it, Michigan got a little bogged down with the new laws, largely in part because they authorized sports betting, online casino, and online poker all at once. As we learned from the Keystone State, regulators used to brick-and-mortar slot machines and craps tables are on a bit of a learning curve when it comes to moving the business from the casino to the computer. Retail sports betting in Michigan actually got underway before the pandemic started back in March 2020. Of course, with the pandemic, the business has been pretty stop and start with casino closures. It's also difficult for us to gauge just how big brick-and-mortar betting has been since tribal casinos aren't required to report retail betting revenues to Michigan regulators. They will be reporting their online, though, so we will have a better idea in a couple of months. This past Friday, everyone in Michigan became able to not only bet on sports from anywhere in the mitten, but play online casino games too. 10 different online betting apps debuted in Michigan this weekend, including the much-anticipated expansion of Barstool Sportsbook, which is currently just in Pennsylvania and now in Michigan too. Barstool head honcho Dave Portnoy and crew traveled to Detroit for the big opening. In addition to plugging the product, Portnoy also plugged a promo for new bettors that Barstool's parent company, Penn National Gaming, would match all new bettor deposits over the weekend, and they would donate that matched money to the Barstool Fund, which supports small businesses struggling during the coronavirus pandemic. According to Penn, that tribe generated $3.1 million for the cause. As with most any new state, new operators are doing everything they can to gain market share, from tremendous ad buys to huge deposit bonuses. Basically, every operator is offering something, be it free bets or deposit matching. If you want a handy-dandy rundown of bonus offers in one place, head over to www.playusa.com/mi and get the full rundown of offers. It's worth taking a minute to issue the same word of warning that Michigan Attorney General Dana Nessel offered people gambling online for the first time in her state. The AG issued an official statement encouraging Michigan players to check out the fine print and details of these promos before signing up for them. These deals definitely do have value, but you should not assume these bonuses amount to free money. Most of the time, there are some strings attached, like bets having to be at a certain odds and wagers having to be played through, which is essentially wagering what you won one more time before you can withdraw. The same statement about bonuses applied to new Virginia sports betting apps too, but that's really about all these two launches had in common. The news of Virginia's sportsbook launch seemingly came about by accident. So, last Wednesday, FanDuel Sportsbook starts sending out emails to customers in the VA area notifying them that the app would be launching the following day. FanDuel also tweeted a video trumpeting the imminent launch, only to take it down and repost a version that kind of couched exactly when the launch date was going to happen. Nonetheless, the following day, FanDuel indeed launched, and weirdly enough, nobody else did. Turns out it's because FanDuel partnered with the Washington football team, so they got a little preferential treatment. Why? Well, when the state legalized sports betting, the framework allowed for casinos that may or may not have been approved by a referendum. They all were. And stadiums and sports teams in Virginia were allowed to be sports betting operators. There was also room for online-only licensees, but apparently they don't get some of the same perks. The perk, though, really amounted to a 48-hour head start, and that's it. DraftKings Sportsbook went live last Saturday, and the Virginia Lottery, which oversees sports betting, did say more operators are going to launch before the Super Bowl on February 7th. Other than that, though, the VA Lottery hasn't told us much of anything, honestly. When I say that the D-Day invasion likely involved less secrecy than Virginia's sports betting launch, I'm not kidding. Prior to FanDuel letting it slip last week, nobody actually even knew which operators had applied for licenses in Virginia. We were all just guessing. And when it comes to launch, the lottery essentially just quietly updates the list of approved licensees on its homepage and leaves it to the operators to spread the news. So when I say I think BetMGM and BetRivers should launch before the big game, take that with a grain of salt. And be sure to head over to playvirginia.com because it appears news out of Old Dominion about launches will remain off the record, on the QT, and very hush-hush. So, how did these two very different launches compare? According to GeoComply, the company that managed the geolocation tech for basically every brand and basically every market in the US, they say that Michigan is already the most active online gambling state in the country, besting stalwarts like Pennsylvania and New Jersey. GeoComply lumped the two launches together, though, so we note that there were a combined 400,000 new accounts between Michigan and Virginia and an insane 7.5 million transactions last weekend. That amounted to 25% of all the regulated U.S. gaming action. And not surprisingly, the end result made it the biggest weekend in regulated U.S. online gambling history, though we expect the Super Bowl will obliterate that in 2 weeks. Now, the media, we talk more about sports betting than other parts of the gambling industry. But that number I just mentioned almost certainly hit 7 digits because 8 different online casinos were accepting customers in Michigan. And unlike Pennsylvania, where some apps launched casino with literally a dozen games, Michigan players had a ton of options from the jump. Most casinos debuted with around 100 games. They offered slots, progressive slots like Divine Fortune, table games like blackjack and roulette, and video poker. If you want to check out some of what those slots titles available in Michigan may look like, pop back over to the flagship PlayUSA channel. Slot streamer extraordinaire Kim took the time to test out some of the games on offer at Golden Nugget Casino in Michigan, as well as DraftKings Casino. There's a ton to celebrate about Michigan's big opening weekend, but I would be remiss if I didn't note what wasn't available. To the surprise of basically no one, the launch came and went with no live dealer games. Now, if you don't know what they are, these popular gaming options in Pennsylvania and New Jersey basically allow players to log into your app on your phone or your browser on your desktop, and you get to interact with a real dealer dealing real cards and spinning a real roulette wheel in a casino setting. These games took about a year to hit Pennsylvania after online casino launched there, but hopefully Michigan will have those up and running a little bit sooner, and it seems like they are indeed in the works. The grumpiest folks in Michigan this weekend, though, have to be online poker players. The Jan Brady of the industry, online poker was not available at launch, and none of us expected it to be. There is hope that poker gets live faster in Michigan than it took in PA, though, in part because player compacting there is actually fresh on the brain of Michiganders because the legislation just passed allowing it to happen. Additionally, with the switch over to the Biden administration and a higher court ruling against the DOJ on its pretty iffy Trump-era interpretation of the Wire Act, means that maybe, just maybe, states can stop worrying about this federal pursuit to shut intrastate gambling down. The weekend was not without hiccups, including several outages for BetMGM as the site dealt with extremely high volume in Michigan. But despite what Virginia may want us to think, the success of the weekend is no secret. It is a marquee success to kick off this new year, get new states launching apps before the Super Bowl, and provide states considering legislation with an eye-popping number to toss out that may persuade lawmakers that a great solution to pandemic-related budget shortfalls is online gambling expansion. Not just sports betting, though, casino, too. Will Connecticut, Illinois, Indiana, and others take that advice? You'll have to tune in to PlayUSA in the coming weeks and months to find out. Until then, I'll see you next time on PlayUSA to Z.